and welcome back to the most amazing top 10 channel on the internet. I am your Spook Duke or Duchess Rebecca Jane Felgate, which is appropriate because today we are talking about the top 10 scary secrets from the royal family. Wow. Thank you to our subscriber Crash for this one. If you guys have any video suggestions for us in the future, then please do let us know what you would like to see. I'm all eyes, I'm all ears. Also, before we get into this video, as we're talking about the royal family, why don't you let me know your favourite historical queen or king, princess or prince? I'm gonna go with Princess Margaret, the Queen's sister, and also Queen Cleopatra of Egypt. Two just very sassy ladies by the sounds of it. If you like our video content, thank you in advance for leaving a thumbs up. It makes me warm and happy and, you know, just joyous. Share this video with a friend and stay subscribed for more videos. Check out the links in our description box for our most amazing Instagrams.
Number 9. Princess Diana theories. Okay, Princess Diana's tragic untimely death occurred in Paris on August 31st, 1997. It of course was an accident blamed on her driver who hit a pillar in a tunnel. The driver was speeding at a high rate and alcohol was also in their blood system. But of course the theories, these dark conspiracy theories, followed for a very long time. Mohammed Al Fayed, Dodi's father, Diana's partner, who at the time was rumored to propose, his father, Mohammed, believes that Diana and Dodi were the victims of a deep royal family plot involving the British security services and one Prince Philip, who acted before the couple could even announce their engagement. So already we're starting to ask a little more questions, right? Okay, it's getting pretty deep. Number 8. The note. A note Diana wrote also hints towards her untimely demise. It's honestly pretty heavy. This note is a conspiracy in itself. After separating from Prince Charles, she sent this letter to her butler. It's an odd, accidental prediction. She says, "I'm sitting here at my desk today in October, longing for someone to hug me and encourage me to keep strong and hold my head high. This particular phase of my life is the most dangerous. Someone is planning an accident in my car, brake failure, and serious head injury in order to make the path clear for him to marry." End quote. Okay, let's unpack that, I guess. She continues here saying that he wants to marry a woman named Tiggy and that Camilla is nothing but a decoy. Now, that is a huge thing to drop here. As we know though, the last part was a little off. Charles did end up marrying Camilla, so that came true. The butler also later said the media had looked into it too hard, the whole letter incident. Apparently the letter was just a bout of anxiety that they made a bigger deal. And to be fair, there were attacks on the Queen so often. Like, dudes were trying left, right, and center just to run at the carriage, so. Boy Jones going through windows, it was a nightmare, I can't imagine. Number 7, the Great Fire. One of the most wild Nostradamus predictions ever. Let's talk about it. It reads, "The blood of the just will commit a fault at London. Burned through lightning of 23's the 6. The ancient lady will fall from her high place. Several of the same sect will be killed." There are many people who believe that this entry here was actually one that predicted the Great Fire of London that occurred in 1666. The line 23's the 6th and times 20 by 3, then you add 6, you get 66. So yeah, there's some conspiracy math behind this, equation over here. But most importantly, it may also mention London and the royal family. And in real life, this fire really did affect them, of course, as well. Also, it is said by many that the reference to the lady here is actually another term for the kingdom. This means that Nostradamus was predicting that the kingdom was going to fall as a result of the Great Fire. Nostradamus is an odd one. He may be in here a couple times. He said some odd stuff. Number 6. Prince Charles the Vampire. Okay, yeah, some of these theories, they're a bit out there, I'll admit that. I didn't make them up. I wish I did, but I did not. Some believers out there actually think that Prince Charles is a vampire. Like a vampire that sucks blood. Like a vampire. Why? Because Prince Charles is related to Vlad the Impaler. You know, the 15th century ruler who inspired the story of Dracula in Transylvania? Yeah, that one. Now, it's a fun theory that went about, but Prince Charles having a piece of Romania is actually helping out nature, dare I say. The prince has since been conserving forests and even got a property in the land, so yeah, he's not a vampire. Well, maybe, who's to say really, I don't know. I vote no. Number 5. King Henry II. Could Nostradamus have actually predicted the death of King Henry II, who at that point was actually a personal acquaintance of the prophet himself? Maybe. This certainly sounds like it. While at one point Nostradamus was seen addressing King Henry II as the most invincible King Henry of France, unfortunately Henry proved to be quite vincible when he met his gruesome death at age 40. It happened in the summer of 1559 and it was a terrible jousting accident gone wrong, and it left the king passing away shortly after from sepsis. This is a terrible story, but I told it because many think that Nostradamus actually called it first. He literally called the shots. The jousting accident saw the king having splinters driven into his eye and skull by one of his young soldiers. And the Nostradamus quote reads, "The young lion will overcome the older one." And it says that he will pierce his eyes through a golden cage, and that 2 wounds will ensure a cruel death. You know, I'm not saying he did, I'm just saying the jousting and the definitely got close. He definitely got close. Number 4. Marriage or ploy. Ooh, I like these. Some Game of Thrones stuff. Here we go. These theories are just that. They're all theories online that people have leaned into and, you know, looked into way too much. So when I mentioned shapeshifters in 3 minutes, don't be surprised, okay? That's all I'm saying. There's a theory online that you've probably heard where perhaps the marriage of Meghan Markle to Prince Harry, perhaps this is a political ploy that will allow the United Kingdom to reabsorb the United States. Yeah, spoilers, but they're coming, I guess. This theory got momentum online because Prince Harry's kids will be Americans as well as Brits. That's double trouble right there. So they could grow up to be president and king. Yeah, now you're thinking, you're like, oh yeah, true. Time even tweeted about it. Yeah, Time. It went viral, obviously, but they tweeted, quote, "They want America back, and this is how they'll do it." Some guy tweeted that. I was like, whew. GIF or no GIF? All right, no GIF. It's more powerful. We got it. Number 3. Diana's other child. Conspiracy theorists for a while now have sought out claims for the royal family wanting to take out Diana. So I guess, sure, some people do this with their lives. Egyptian businessman Mohammed Al Fayed, father of Diana's partner, who I mentioned earlier, began to talk and actually spread rumors that Diana was actually pregnant with his son's child, and that Prince Philip couldn't stand the fact that his grandson would have an Egyptian Muslim as a stepfather. It's pretty heavy stuff right there, right? Now, of course, post-mortem examinations did not find any evidence that, you know, confirmed this or that Diana was pregnant. But of course, there's still many online who still stand by this conspiracy. Worth a mention, I'd say. People are wild. Number 2, shapeshifters. I warned you. This next theory, again, I wish I could claim for my own, but it was actually former BBC presenter David Icke. He has since revealed himself not as a lizard, but as a conspiracy theorist. And one conspiracy that surrounds the royal family, personally, it has me stunned. I was laughing at my desk for like 8 minutes. Here we go. Icke and a few others claim that the royal family is part of the Illuminati. Yeah, we love that. And all of them earn their power because their human ancestor mated with reptilian aliens. That's a real person's claim right there. That's a real person's real claim right there. David goes on and he says that the theory actually explains why the royal families are all obsessed with keeping their bloodlines clean with other royals. Sure, I guess that's where my mind went to first, okay. But the biggest what the part of all of this has to be when David told the public that he knows people who have seen royal family members or people who have, you know, high power. He's seen them change into reptiles and then back into human form again. He knows people who have seen that with their own eyes. So of course I had to bring that one up before our number 1. Of course I had to. And finally, number 1, leaked letters. We'll end off with some recent letter leaks. Never thought I'd be excited about this, but here we go. May 2018, the royal wedding. It was thought at the time that Meghan's father was absent because of the heart attack that he suffered prior, like right before. But a year or so later, it was revealed that Thomas Markle and the new Duchess weren't as close as it seemed. Thomas even spoke out against his own daughter. There was a huge scandal where Meghan spoke to Oprah as well, a huge tell-all. Basically, Meghan actually said to her father that if you tell me the truth about working with paparazzi, then we can all help and then we'll go from there and then work on rebuilding our father-daughter relationship. And he wasn't able to do that, and that for me has really resonated, especially now as a mother, end quote. So she's pretty much done with her dad's because he's, you know, leaking letters. And to be fair, if my dad was working with paparazzi, showing them private letters or emails, I'd be upset too. There's no way though. There's no way. My dad can't even figure out the thumbprint, let alone email. Get out of here.
Starting us off with number 10 is The Other Woman. Now I actually knew this one beforehand because I used to be obsessed with the CW show Reign, which is primarily about Mary, Queen of Scots, and Elizabeth I. Either way, the show took the juiciest facets of the royals' real lives and incorporated it into the show, and this one was a major plot line. It was believed that Queen Elizabeth was having an affair with one of her most trusted friends, Robert Dudley. He was a suitor for her hand for years before marrying Amy Robsart, which made their secret relationship that much more juicy. We love a juicy under the table relationship, don't we? No, we don't. It's cheating. Ruins lives. Don't do it. Elizabeth would even turn down every suitor that came her way for Robert, but the two lovebirds couldn't get married while Amy was still in the picture. Amy, you're looking like a problem, my friend. Conveniently, she died a very mysterious death, and it was rumored that Elizabeth and Robert orchestrated the whole thing. Amy's body was found with a broken neck at the bottom of the stairs, so most believe she had either fallen or committed suicide. But the coroner's This report concluded she had deep puncture wounds on her head, meaning someone had hit her either before she fell down the stairs or purposely threw herself down the stairs or was pushed down the stairs by whoever hit her in the head. Maybe it was Robert Dudley.
Alright, marching on in at number 10 we have the Royal Nazis. The British royal family has some uncomfortable connections with the Nazi party. Prince Philip, the Queen's husband, was a Danish prince and his sisters were married to Nazis. When his sister Cecile died, her funeral contained full Nazi regalia. Prince Philip was young at the time, but his ties were enough to mean that a lot of his German relatives were not invited to his wedding when he got married to the Queen. This was as a result of the political climate in post-war Europe. Philip was never himself associated with the Nazi party, but it seems that the Queen's uncle, the infamous abdicated King Edward VIII, may have been a Nazi sympathiser. According to some very credible rumours, he was in cahoots with the Reich and planned to help them overthrow King George V in return for restoration of his power. The Queen was young when the Nazis were in power and her uncle taught her the Nazi salute, which unfortunately she was pictured performing, but likely was very ignorant of its meaning, like the rest of Great Britain at the time before Hitler's tyranny was truly known. Then of course there was the awkward costume party where Prince Harry dressed as a Nazi in 2005. The Sun printed an image of the royal prince wearing a swastika and all hell broke loose in the media landscape. Coming into number 9 we have the Queen's murdered uncle. A firm question mark here, but was the Queen's uncle murdered? His death was certainly suspicious. It seems that the younger brother to the abdicated King Edward VIII and then the subsequent King George V, he was the Duke of Kent, he was bisexual and flamboyant, which was an issue for both of his brothers, especially the Crown in the 1940s. Also an issue was that he was accused of also being a Nazi sympathiser. The rumour was that in order to save the throne the embarrassment of having him around, Prince George the Duke of Kent was sent on a special mission. It seems that the plane carrying the Duke and 14 other passengers went down. All but one survived, and there were many whisperings of the accident being all too convenient. It seems that the Duke was also a Freemason, so if it wasn't an accident, was it the Crown or was it the Freemasons? The sole survivor was forced to sign the Official Secret Act. However, it is claimed that he told his family there was someone on board the aircraft that simply wasn't supposed to be there. Coming into number 8 we have the Queen is above the law. Luckily our Queen is a sweet 93-year-old lady who seems to be pretty concerned with upholding the law rather than breaking it. But she could. Like most countries, the United Kingdom has a freedom of information system that basically allows the press and public to reasonably ask questions about various situations. Many say that this is vital in a democratic society, but the royal family have used their powers to block the Freedom of Information Act from applying to them. To put it simply, the Queen's private affairs can stay very, very private. She honestly really doesn't have to answer to anyone. Coming into number 7 we have Meghan's secret Instagram. I get it, if I suddenly married into royalty I may also struggle to give up social media. I love Instagram, I love taking pictures and sharing them with the world, but when you're a member of the royal family, you're expected to be prim and proper, you're expected to be an ideal public figure. It seems that the former actress Meghan wanted to hold on to her more informal life and had a secret Instagram account for sharing snaps with family and friends. The Duchess of Sussex was forced to shut down her public profile when she married Harry, but she had a secret Instagram to follow her family and friends. However, the account led her to discover unwanted information about the way the public perceived her. Reading rumours that she'd been dubbed Duchess Difficult and had made sister-in-law Kate Middleton cry was hard for her to read, and especially hard on her mental health, so she gave up Instagram. Honestly, I get it, Instagram can be a bit of a mind melt, but I still love it. Does that make me wrong? Maybe. Coming into number 6 we have Diana's ghost. Honestly, I really don't know about this one. Of course, claiming that Princess Diana's ghost is out and about will garner headlines. I will say take this one with a pinch of salt though, like a very big pinch of salt. In August 2018, a man claiming to be a psychic contacted the so-called lonely ghost of Princess Diana and published a book of their alleged interview. there's that salt, I am pinching it. Ruho Akawa is a self-confessed religious leader from Japan. In the book, titled Spiritual Interview with the Princess, he claimed that Diana called Prince Charles, first in line to the throne, the devil. She also is said to have called the Queen the last light of England and said that the country will undergo a revolution. Get this, she also allegedly proclaimed a love of Islam. Sure, honestly, I think that we all know what to do with that salt we're pinching, just take it elsewhere, because there is legitimately no truth to this. Although I will say that this isn't the first time that Diana's ghost has been discussed. Weirdly, pop artist and X Factor finalist Chico claims that she visited and gave him lip implants one day, which, I'm sorry, what is everyone smoking? And like, can I maybe have some? Okay, so speaking of ghosts, let's go with some more credible sources for this one. Coming into number 5, we have King Henry VIII. Windsor Castle is one of the oldest of the Queen's homes and has been in the British royal family for generations. It was built by William the Conqueror in 1070 AD, and it's reported to be haunted by the spirits of former monarchies of England. Mad King George III, for example, is said to peer forlornly through a window. Charles I is said to haunt the grounds, and Queen Elizabeth I, the Virgin Queen as she was known, is thought to haunt the royal library. The most famous ghost of the 25 is thought to be none other than King Henry VIII. Mr. Chode himself. He's said to drag his gouty leg and groan as he moves around the cloisters. I know that he's dead, but his reputation for taking ladies' heads precedes him, and I will say, on top of that, he's not the only scary ghost, there are loads of them. Once again, loads. It's not just kings and queens either, it seems that former prisoners and members of royal staff stalk the hallowed halls of Windsor Castle. Another castle coming in at number 4, we have The Queen Hates Buckingham Palace. So speaking of ghosts, did you know that Buckingham Palace, the official residence of the crown, is said to be haunted? It seems that an angry monk has made his presence known, although that isn't the reason that the Queen dislikes Buckingham Palace. It seems that nobody in the royal family is a fan of the palace, which has been in the monarchy's official residence since 1837. It seems that the building is drafty, frequented by mice, the roof leaks, and a lot of asbestos had to be removed in recent years. It's rumoured that Prince Charles is not a fan and doesn't want to live there when he's king. Is the royal family cursed? Find out at number 3, we have the royal curse. So this actually comes from the Queen Mother rather than the throne line of the Windsors. The Queen Mother was a descendant of the Bowes-Lyon family. Her pre-marriage name was Elizabeth Angela Marguerite Bowes-Lyon. What a mouthful. While she lived to the ripe old age of 101, her family are said to suffer a lifelong curse. The curse is said to stem back 600 years to the 15th century, where Alexander Lyon, the second Lord of Glamis, was said to have sold his soul to the devil. Rookie mistake. The home he owned at the time, Glamis Castle, is still in the Bowes-Lyons family. The Queen's grandfather once said if the secrets of the castle were known to the public, people would get down on their hands and knees and thank God it didn't belong to them. Perhaps the curse has carried. The Queen Mother lost her husband, King George, who died at the age of 51. Now the current Queen is the only monarch to have seen all of her children divorce. Then Windsor Castle burned in 1992, Princess Diana famously died in 1997, and the Queen lost her sister in 2002. Is this as a result of the curse? Coming into number 2, we have Kamloops. What happened at Kamloops? We still don't know. In 1964, Queen Elizabeth and her husband Prince Philip were on a tour of Commonwealth Canada when they visited the controversial Kamloops Residential School in British Columbia. After their visit, 50 children went missing. Now, school pupil William Cobes, a native North American child who went to Kamloops, actually said that the Queen made his fellow classmates kiss her shoes, and then her and her husband abducted them, which I don't believe, but that's what he said. Some websites even claim that she was found to have been involved by an independent investigation team looking into the case. Beyond the missing children, thousands of kids were reported to have been emotionally, physically and sexually abused by the churches that ran the schools, and in the year 2007 the Canadian government settled a $1.9 billion lawsuit on the topic. Weird. Finally, coming into number 1, we have Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein. The Queen's youngest son, Prince Andrew, was known to be friends with billionaire pervert and paedophile Jeffrey Epstein, having visited his private island. He even invited Jeffrey to his daughter Princess Beatrice's 18th birthday, which took place days before his arrest for sex trafficking in 2006. Epstein, for those that don't know, was an American financier and part of an elite social circle that was accused of procuring women and underage girls for sex. For his first offense, which he was convicted for, he pleaded guilty but only served 13 months in jail. He was arrested again in July 2019, and the man killed himself in his cell in August. Prince Andrew doesn't pick his friends well at all. On top of Epstein, he has also accepted and holidayed at convicted gun smuggler Tariq Khatouni's home.
Starting our list off at number 10, Princess Diana. Prince Charles, the oldest son of the Queen, straight up admitted to having an affair with Camilla before his divorce from his first wife, Princess Diana. So in turn, Princess Diana addressed the relationship and what happened during that famous 1995 interview with BBC, well, she couldn't have said it better if I'm being honest. Diana said, quote, "Well, there were 3 of us in this marriage, so it was a bit crowded." End quote. Diana also said she was in love with riding instructor Major James Hewitt during her marriage to Charles, so everybody had eyes elsewhere it seems. Now Diana and Charles did divorce in 1996, only 1 year before her tragic accident. Now later in 2005 he ended up marrying Camilla. Tragic of course, but were there dark theories that followed? Yeah, way too many theories.
Coming in at number 9 are the secret cousins. Now we already saw in part 1 that the royal family does not handle mental disabilities well, regardless if the afflicted were their children or not. Queen Elizabeth II actually had 2 first cousins whose existence was covered up to the best of the family's abilities. Nerissa and Catherine Bowes-Lyon were the children of John Bowes-Lyon, who was Queen Elizabeth's uncle. The girls were incarcerated in Earlswood Hospital, a mental institution, back in 1941. The girls were mute but otherwise had mischievous fun personalities, yet staff at the hospital claimed the royal family never came to visit them even once. Nerissa passed away in 1986 and Catherine as recently as 2014, yet they had both been listed as dead since 1963. The family didn't even attend Nerissa's funeral, for God's sake. Like, come on, put some respect on her name. How dare you list them as dead when they're clearly alive? At number 8, we have Epstein and more. Now, Prince Andrew, Duke of York, Queen Elizabeth II's third child, is a questionable royal. Let's just say he's definitely not a stranger to controversy. Back in 2011, it was revealed that Andrew was scarily good friends with convicted sex offender and pedophile Jeffrey Epstein. Epstein was soliciting underage girls into prostitution and was found guilty of the crime back in 2008. Sarah Ferguson, who's Prince Andrew's ex-wife, claimed he had asked Jeffrey to pay off some of her debts, but he retorted back saying he'd cut all ties with the man. But why would you even have ties to him in the first place, Prince Andrew? Are underage girls your flavor? Disgusting. And sadly, the Princess saga of bad company just doesn't end there. He also went on a public holiday to Tunisia with Tariq Khatouni, a convicted gun smuggler. Apparently Tariq had gifted him and his daughter some expensive jewelry in exchange for some of the prince's business influence, and he took the bait. Prince Andrew, you're just not the sharpest tool in the shed, are you? No. Filling at number 7 slot is The Price. Now this one made me laugh a lot. I don't know if it should have, but I found it bloody hilarious. So we just got into Prince Andrew's dirty laundry, so it is only fair we expose his ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, lovingly referred to as Fergie in the UK, also not to be mistaken for Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas. She's Fergalicious. This is just plain Fergie. Now back in 2010, a recording was made and released by an undercover reporter who'd captured Fergie selling access to Prince Andrew in exchange for money. The reporter offered her a whopping $700,000 for the information, and she can be heard saying, "Do you understand that I absolutely have not a pot to piss in? I left the royal family with friendship, no money. Diana left with £20 million, and that's why the Queen is my friend, because I never took a bean from them. I have the biggest heart and the biggest of everything, but I have zero money, I have nothing." I mean, I don't think the Queen's gonna be your friend after that, Fergie babes. I think you kind of nipped that in the bud, didn't you? Now, number 6 is the criminal offense. Now, as a normal person in society, you really don't want to have any criminal offenses on your record, and for a royal, the pressure is 100-fold to make sure you don't. But thanks to me, your host, for keeping up with the royals, we found a pair of royals that have been charged with a criminal offense, exposing you left, right, and center. Ha ha ha. Coming to you straight from quarantine. Now, Princess Anne, the only daughter of the Queen, was known for her charity work more than anything else. However, in 2002, she and her husband went to Windsor Great Park to walk their dogs. All of a sudden, one of their dogs got free and aggressively attacked two kids who were riding their bikes. The couple were then obviously taken to court, they had to pay a fine, and they were charged with the offense. The dog wasn't put down, to the dismay of the kids' families, but then a year later, that same dog killed one of the Queen's corgis. So I mean, this really boils down to the age-old question of who did let the dogs out. Coming in at number 5 is the love child. While we're on the topic of Princess Anne, this secret involves her too, so I guess she's no stranger to controversy either. In 1973, Anne married Lieutenant Mark Phillips at Westminster Abbey, and it was a huge deal. The whole thing was televised. You know how royal ceremonies are. They're big. Now, while the couple had a rocky marriage from beginning till the end, it was complete shit. And despite being married for 20 years, it was dubbed a joyless sham. 12 years into their marriage, Mark ended up having an affair with an art teacher from New Zealand called Heather Tonkin, and from that affair came a baby girl. And even with a child from another woman, the marriage continued for another few years before finally coming to an end. That same year, Anne then married one of the royal staff members, so I mean, there's that. There's a lot of just tea going around, isn't there? At number 4 is Lady Sarah. Princess Diana has been a household name ever since I can remember, but this one's actually about her older sister, Lady Sarah McCorquodale, who I had no idea even existed. McCorquodale, where have you been? Well, apparently Sarah was the one that introduced Prince Charles to Diana, starting the strained love affair. However, Sarah actually dated Charles herself before Diana did. The two dated in the 70s, but then broke up, and clearly whatever happened left a bad taste in her mouth, because she went on to say she would never marry Charles, whether he were the dustman or the King of England. I don't think I could ever date one of my sister's exes. I feel like that's just so bloody weird. That's just too weird for me. I couldn't do it. Filling in the 3 slot is Camilla Gate Part 1. Watergate was bad for the world, but mostly for America, and Camilla Gate was the same for the British, albeit it was a lot funnier. Now, a month after Prince Charles and Princess Diana announced that they were going to split up in 1989, a phone conversation was recorded between Charles and Camilla Parker Bowles, and let's just say the content was R-rated. The couple was still married at the time when Charles and Camilla were talking about the dirty on the phone, which made Diana quote-unquote sick. Charles at one point even said he wished he lived inside Camilla's trousers like a Tampax, just his luck. I'm not gonna say anything on this. I'm not gonna comment. Now, at number 2 is Camilla Gate Part 2. Now, if a leaked bedtime conversation of the two wasn't bad enough, I think this is the biggest plot twist of all. In a 1995 interview with Martin Bashir, Princess Diana admitted she had known about Charles and Camilla's affair all along, and had actually spoken to Charles about her own love affair with James Hewitt, her riding instructor. I feel like Diana was so past the point of even giving a single shit. She was like, oh, you're cheating? That's cool, dude, so am I. How's she doing? This is how James is doing. And finally, at number 1 is Coup. I feel like for the most part, Prince Andrew has been on this list far more times than I'd like. Like, poor Prince Harry got a bad name as the black sheep of the family. Was not a single person paying attention to Prince Andrew and the show that he was creating. Like, what happened to that? Back in 1982, Andrew started dating an American girl called Kathleen Stark, also referred to as Coup. Now, things were going pretty well with her until he introduced her to his mum, Queen Elizabeth II, and she quite liked her. What the Queen didn't know, however, was the fact that Coup was a softcore adult actress, and a lot of naked pictures of her had appeared in British tabloids and newspapers. So when she found that out, you can imagine what kind of conversation ensued thereafter. Andrew. Personally, I don't care what somebody does. I feel like adult actors and actresses get a very bad rep, but I mean, it's a job at the end of the day.